What's the deal? What's going on, folks? The Ox Life Podcast. It's me. I changed my name to Uncle Keese. Back at it. I'm here with Cederico and Canel.
Hey.
You know, so today's episode is it's a good one.
Happy Father's Day.
Suits today. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Cederico.
Appreciate you, guy.
You know, happy Father's Day, sis. I hope today's your day.
Disrespectful.
I hope you got all of the Father's Day wishes to you.
Disrespecting me. But thank you at the same time. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome, brother.
Sis.
Yeah, whatever you say. So any 2 cents on recent events this week? Anything that came through the grapevine? No?
I'm still out of the loop. I don't want to watch the news. I don't like
But
pay
you
attention
watch
to
social
Fox
media
News,
though, right?
CNN. It's for my own personal purpose.
Oh.
For my
Anything
own
you
personal
heard of or
tweets.
nothing like that?
Not
No?
really, nothing.
Well,
Musically, no. Sports. We all know Toronto won, right? We all aware of that.
I just wanted you to acknowledge that. That was all. That was what I was kind of leaning towards
Oh, really?
a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Do you take everything back?
No.
Okay, whatever. Any 2 cents on recent events for you?
Just the women's national team's been kicking ass, which is pretty exciting to see. I know they just won their first game 13-0, and I think they played was it Chile yesterday?
Oh, yeah?
I don't know the results of that score, but it's been fun to watch, see people, just see women kind of gather around and, support one another and
Is that soccer?
really represent our country, yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's always
Yeah.
fun to see women gather
It's
around.
like the World Cup for them, and yeah. But it's been really fun to see, kind of trying to tune into it, watch it a little bit. Bruins lost. I'm a little upset about that.
I'm not upset at all,
I'm
actually.
still
I already
supporting.
know it was going to happen.
Did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I was like,
I
okay.
don't watch hockey.
Our hockey
Crazy.
aficionado, that being you.
Yes, it
But yeah,
is.
no, it was an
hockey.
entertaining series, and I got to watch it, so
Oh, okay.
that's about it for me.
Well, shout out to them.
Yeah. How about you?
My 2 cents of recent events, it actually benefits me because
Right.
now I can be a fan a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis is now a Laker.
Ooh.
So bye-bye Lonzo and everybody else. Brandon Ingram, I think, was in the trade.
I'll
along
tell
with
you
Josh
what,
Josh
bro.
Hart.
Yeah.
that lineup over there is going to be pretty scary. It's going to
Yeah.
put a lot of pressure on a lot of defenses.
Which one's going to be
Just saying.
scary?
Huh?
Which one's going to be scary?
Pelicans?
They
Not
weren't
that they-
scary when they were with the Lakers. I don't think they're going to be
Huh?
scary in New Orleans either.
No, it's just it's going to be a young. They're going to gel pretty well. They got Zion Williamson that's supposed to be
We're not talking
projected
about the
to
Pelicans. We talking about the Lakers right about now. We no.
Yeah,
No,
that's true.
no.
Mhm.
Anthony Davis
Laker gang.
is with my role model / twin, LeBron James.
I
So,
don't
you
like.
know.
I don't like that you're a Laker fan now. I actually hate it.
No, actually, Anthony Davis fixed that for me. So, thank you, AD, and your agent, or your new agent, right? He got a new agent.
No,
so-
Rich Paul's been the same agent.
Isn't the
He's
same
had all
agent?
Shout out
throughout
to
the
Rich
year.
Paul too. Like he's taking the league by storm with his thing.
Well, that's my 2 cents of recent events involving
So, yeah.
the newest Laker fan over here.
Welcome to the bandwagon. I
I
guess.
mean, I didn't
Is that
have an
fair?
actual Lakers, so the closest I got is a
UCLA.
UCLA.
It has LA in it, so I guess you're close. Right?
You know, it
It's
is
a
what it is.
Fraud.
Mm.
Go back to Cleveland with that.
Whatever.
Mm.
So, since today is Father's Day,
Yes, it is.
we're bringing forth a variety of segments and topics to discuss
Mhm.
this day.
Mhm.
So we just want to recognize everybody that's in there, that's present in their families' lives. So happy Father's Day to everybody, and even those who aren't within the household but still, providing support and everything like that. Still happy Father's Day to you. We know you're trying. We know you're still making it a point to be there, make a difference in your child's lives and everything of that nature.
And for those who are fighting in the court system for whatever it is, keep on fighting the fight. Never let up. Stay resilient. There's a bigger picture, which is your child. Keep that in mind.
Don't let your baby mama get you.
Yeah,
Don't let it get you. Keep fighting.
please. I seen it.
You said you've seen it?
I seen it way too many times, Jack.
Yeah, it could play out like that. So to get right into it, so this is our initial impressions on fatherhood. So the first question that we're gonna ask on behalf of everybody is, what is the importance of having a father in the household?
The presence. A father's presence is the most important thing. It just provides a sense of security. The father's supposed to be the protector of the house, basically the anchor and the provider of all things, whether it be money-wise, financial, or whether it just be a sense of comfort for the children, for the mom, just for the family overall. So that's an important thing for me. It's just having the presence alone.
Mm. What about you, Canal?
Do I think it's important?
What is important?
No. Do I think it's helpful? Yeah, for all the reasons that Skeeta had mentioned. But I think there's been a bunch of people who have been successful just being raised in a single family home or single parent household. Barack Obama was raised by a single mother. Kevin Durant, single mother. LeBron, single mother. So I mean, I think it's helpful, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily like super important. It's not like vital to anybody's success. So yeah,
I mean, I also think people kind of look into it and make it sound as if the mother and father needs to be in the household.
right.
You know
It'd be
what I'm
nice. I think it'd be ideal, but
I think that is the ideal
yeah, of course.
thing when people look into families and households and stuff like that.
Took
So
two to make it. I think it should be two to raise it, but I wouldn't want to say that one or the other is more important. Like, just
yeah, I mean, a father in the household can mean so many different things. They do offer a great support system within the house if they're on their shit, if they're not bullshitting around in there and actually trying to make a difference in their child's lives and everything of that nature. But it's supposed to be a sign of strength within the household, and like Skeeta said, Cedrico said, the sense of security in there. So I think a father's presence within the household is an impactful thing. So
There you go.
that's just my thoughts on that. I
What's
do
up?
also.
No,
Go
go ahead.
No,
You
go
got
ahead,
it.
go
No,
ahead,
you
go
got
ahead,
it.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I feel like you were going
No,
somewhere.
The
I
rebuttal.
forgot. Dale, go ahead.
I just wanted to know what was like your just initial thoughts on just fatherhood and where it stood in like today's society. You feel like there's strides being made as far as like just fathers stepping up, or just like what do you see just outside looking in right now in society as far as fatherhood?
No.
I think
Just threw me off.
Purple
in here,
rain. Purple rain.
you did change this, didn't
I
you?
did not.
Nah,
The
that
show's
remote's over there.
Oh, well, whatever.
That's Prince.
Okay.
I mean, in the new
Yeah.
society today,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the new up and coming parents
Yeah.
are doing a lot more than what you've seen in the past. I just think it's stepping up a whole lot more, and it's more of a younger parents thing, and I think they do take the time out to actually be there for their kids, and grow with them. I think it's a new attitude in terms of having new parents in new society today. I'm gonna keep saying new society because I just I feel like it's appropriate. But I feel like fathers in today's society they're very present in their lives, and I think they go out their way a lot too for their kids and who they're providing for.
Well said.
So-
Skeeta, what about you? What do you feel? Just like your initial thoughts on fatherhood and just where it's at, where it lies. I know you're a part of it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we are making strides. I'm starting to see a lot more new dads, and it's starting to become more young. Seems like by the month and year, but they are stepping up. They are taking care of the responsibilities and holding themselves accountable, whether the family falls apart or whether they're still sticking together. They're still making that stride to go the extra mile to be present for the child and creating that relationship and that bond so early. So father's definitely making strides now than what it was before.
I think they making I think today they're making dads cool because it's
I think it's being celebrated more almost.
yeah. That's a better way to put it.
Celebrated in like what sense?
It's like changing the stigma. You don't see dads being celebrated on the same standard as anything else. I just feel like being a dad is like being undermined and swept like under everything else. I feel like we're just like the foundation. Everything's being built on top of us without acknowledging we're the foundation that's holding everything together. So now I feel like everything's put on the pedestal, not on the pedestal, but everything's just being spotlighted. Whether it be like IG videos or whether it be like creating a brand, because I follow this brand on IG called Good Dad Gang. It's just like a plethora of like dads worldwide just being celebrated, just wearing the brand and like having little videos with the children, people making blogs out of it, creating little YouTube series out of it. So it's a beautiful thing to see.
I mean, well, you participated in making that child, so
Absolutely.
I think we've made steps, or we've taken steps to be better. I still think we have a lot to improve on.
Absolutely.
Facts. Big facts.
You know, so but it's good that it's being recognized a little bit more. Yeah, it's coming along. There's some progress, slow progress, but slow progress better than no progress. So
Oh,
we'll
that's a
take
good
that.
thing.
But I just want to see where people stood as far as like the topic at hand.
It's
period.
improving.
So
It's improving. I can say that
Yeah.
much. It is
Mhm.
improving. Like through a lot of young couples. So
okay.
that's that. So if any at all, what was your relationships with your own
Yeah.
fathers?
Yeah, I'll go. Actually went out and took my dad to brunch yesterday. I mean, he's always been steadily involved in my life.
That's good.
Yeah, so he lived in a different state. He lived in Rhode Island, but we always kept in contact. He would come out to games, baseball, football, basketball, drive
Mhm.
me there, drive me back. Come into town on the weekends. We go to my grandmother's house.
Mhm.
So he's always been involved. I mean, he wasn't there physically as much.
But he still
But
found the
there was a
means to-
present.
yeah.
Yeah, there was a present there. Like I knew, how to get in contact with my dad. If I needed him, he could be there. If I needed anything, he can get it to me. So he's always been involved steadily, and I
That's
appreciate
what's
that.
up.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's what's up.
Mhm.
What about you?
I have a good relationship with my dad now. Before, I'll say majority of my childhood, majority of my life up until I was 22 maybe. I just had like regained a relationship with him because he was like in and out of my life throughout my childhood and throughout my teenage years as well, due to differences with him and my mom or whatever the case may be, and I just ended up practically just really hating him for it. You know what I mean? My mom kept like putting things in my ear, and I kept like believing it, calling him like a deadbeat or whatever the case was, so on and so forth. So I kind of had that as a chip on my shoulder, and I kind of like hated him for it up until he started to like visit me at work, and then we just had like hours of conversation, and he pretty much like breaking down the scenarios of what was going on throughout my childhood, so on and so forth, and I just like gained a new understanding and a new perspective from his side of the story, and I pretty much just gelled this back together. So
Mhm.
so far so good.
So you feel like a reconstructed relationship with your father, if he's hardly been there, is also a good thing later in life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It provides a sense of clarity for me. So I was looking at everything. I was looking at the coin so negatively up until I got his side of the story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was only so much.
So it was
I
two
get it.
sides. It was two sides to the story. You just happened to get the other side.
Exactly,
Of
and
it.
it all makes sense. It all makes sense.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it's a roller coaster ride. Like it was an on and off thing with him. I'm like the splitting image of my. I look like my father from head to toe. Walk bow legged. We walk like gorillas. Like we just look identical.
Literally.
So growing up with our relationships being on and off, I kind of tried to favor the side of people consistently talking about him, talking about his past life, talking about who he was as a person, what he did, and all of these great things around sports and stuff like that. So I kind of held that to a standard. I just realized getting older, I've come to a realization that he was trying at the same time. So I can't fault nobody for trying. I can't fault nobody for making the attempt to fix certain things. I also looked at it as sometimes it takes people a lot longer to adjust to life a little bit, and once they get a good hold on that, then they're able to. It's a trickle effect over to all of these relationships that they have with people, and I kind of put my father in that category. We have a good relationship now. We do keep in touch. He actually stays on Virginia Beach.
Good place to stay.
It's a really good place to stay.
You was out there not too long ago, huh? Getting lit over.
We don't talk about old stuff.
Good times.
It was cool. I did go see him. It felt good seeing him. Felt good that he's in good health and everything of that nature. So like I said, I just realized in life when people are actually making the attempt to try to fix certain things, sometimes you just gotta forgive and let go and just you see how these new relationships pan out for you.
It's the effort that counts.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So what are the effects of a family when a father is not present? When a father is not in the household, what type of effect does it have on children, on a family as a whole, or like what happens?
It can have like, that's a good question. That is a very good question. What are the effects?
Well, for me, being around young kids, playing basketball with them,
Yeah.
working them out, sometimes we engage in these conversations. Sometimes there's a level of stress that these kids don't talk about with the father not being around. Um, some kids just act out because there's no father around. They have behavioral issues out the ass. I just think it's a case by case situation because not all kids act like this. So it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. It's not really doesn't really affect too many kids, but it can affect the group of kids. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, that's true.
but it can also build up your character for the fact that your father's not around. So growing up, you can see the effects of what happened in the household, and you never wanting to repeat that type of situation. You always wanting to do better as you get older, to provide for your mother or whoever's your guardian at that time. So
That's true. That's good. Just to bounce off of you, it can cause like a little emotional distress because there's practically no structure. The mom is probably doing everything that she can and beyond to do whatever she can for the household, for the kids, for herself, trying to balance all of these things, and she don't have no relief, and that can cause, an emotional tantrum from the mom to the children, and living that day by day, that can cause issues. And if you don't have that relief, that other side of the coin, which is the father, that can cause some type of negative effect. But also, in the same token, what you said, it can have the children grow up early, which is not ideal because you want your children to enjoy the childhood.
been through
But
that.
like in our circumstance, living up in a single parent household, we had to literally grow up early, like pretty much before preteens. We was like grown ass men. So, but it molded us into the men we are today. So that's an effect of not having a father around the household. So it's double sided. It's a case by case, like you said. But you know what I mean. Everything ties in together.
What are the effects of a father not being present? I think I just want to make it seem like it's the end all be all for fathers to be there and not to be there. I mean, I just think there's a lot of women who have stepped up and taken over, and that should be supported and acknowledged. One thing I could see it have an effect on is I think if you have a father in the household, it then represents who you should be as a man. You have an idea, like you have a role model, and you have an idea of like how being a man is or what it entails. So what does it look like being in the household? When you're going out, working, coming home, being supportive. I think it's really important for women or for young girls to have a dad in their life to see what it's like to be treated by a man.
Right,
What does that look like?
Right.
How do I need to be treated? What does that relationship look like? So I think the effect of a father not being present is just you miss out on the ideology of how I should act as a man or like how I should be treated as a woman. So I think that's the effect that would be missing if a father's not present in a household.
Well, to also add to that,
Don't add to what I said. Now, go ahead. Go ahead.
but for personally, so I grew up in a predominantly like all woman family. Like
They
it's
run
just
the house, yeah.
all women in the family. But I also have a mother who can act like a grown ass man at certain times. Like she can put that type of demeanor on. But
Shout out to Auntie.
yeah,
Shout out, Miss M.
yeah, shout out to her crazy ass. Love you, mom. Don't beat me. But at the same time, she's also showing me another side of it. She's also showed me how she would like to be treated by a male or somebody that would be in the household, whether it be my father or not. She would also point out the types of things that I need to be as a man. The only issue with that is it can't be shown to you. It's better for you to take note of certain things that are going on, and then
Take
use that to
initiative.
grow within yourself as becoming a man. So I just want to add that little piece to it.
I feel you.
My
Bingo.
fault. I didn't want to drag out your.
Nah, you're good.
I didn't want to stretch it out a little bit.
I don't mind. We're here for discussion, so appreciate your perspective on that.
Is there any other types of thoughts, concerns, or is there any type of positive effects of a father not being in the household?
Yeah, that's big effects. I mean, if you have somebody who's toxic and just kind of going against the family, then it's probably best that he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one thing for a father to be present, but if he's present, he's an alcoholic, or he's, he has some other things or demons that he needs to deal with, and it may be best for him to be out that household. I mean, do you want someone in the household who's abusive, beating up everybody, whether it be verbally or physically? I wouldn't think that's an ideal situation. So I think it can go a long way, a father's not being there, and it could be of benefit. So I think that's really true.
I think some households are just better without him there.
Completely agree.
Just better
Completely
when
agree.
there.
If you can't provide, or if you can't like bring stuff to a table, then like maybe you need to go and just work on your own thing.
Or
Until
you just need to grow the fuck
family
up.
can get
That's just about
situated.
it.
Grow some balls up. Be ballsy for
Man
once.
up and
Yeah.
realize that there are children watching you and they do remember things like this. So, you know.
So tuck your balls and get it together, okay?
All right, Cedric. So, so co-parenting.
Wait, before we get into that, I think there was another question I just wanted to ask. It's just like, do we feel that fathers receive a bad rep in today's society? That was a question that we wanted to ask.
Yes, we do receive a bad rep in society.
Let me ask a better question. You think it's valid that rep is there? Do you
I
feel like
think
it's
I think there are valid reasons for that rep to be there.
okay?
Because to be honest with you, as guys, we see this shit all the time.
Some
Growing up,
dads
we
suck.
see this shit. We see people lack in responsibility. We see people that don't really want to grow up. We see people that participated in this child in the making of this child. But when the child gets here, who's most likely to disappear?
Dad.
The father. I just feel like that bad rep will always be there. But again, it's all due to situation. I just think mothers do a good job of some mothers do a good job of putting that title out there for the fact of him not stepping up to the plate. But then again, you never know the situation behind closed doors. So I think deadbeat is it's used too soon, to be honest with you. Or it's just a title that's being thrown around without no valid excuse as to why you calling him a deadbeat. You know what I'm saying?
I know fathers who try to go out their way to provide like child support and other things like that, and they're called a deadbeat because they don't get along with their BM, or their BM sees them moving on, maybe moving on to a different woman, and then they want to throw out that deadbeat label and try to use children as a weapon against them.
Well,
So I've seen that.
weaponizing children.
It's not. I think it's broken relationships. They confuse broken relationships with the father being a deadbeat.
I think they're
Or just
quick to
being a
throw the
dad.
deadbeat
like they
title out there, knowing that like that man might be moving on without them, and they're not willing to accept that.
They're not willing to accept it, but it goes both ways.
It
though.
does.
It does, because some guys are real little
A-holes.
little ass wipes.
Yep.
So I guess when she doesn't want a relationship with him anymore, his reaction to it is, I'm not going to be in anybody's lives, and if you don't want me, then you see, like this. From what I've seen and from what I grew up around, those are the types of things that I've witnessed and things of that nature. So I think broken relationships are often confused with deadbeat dads or somebody not being present in somebody's lives because the relationship is broken. You know what I'm saying? And that's with anybody.
It's just a sick world, man. It's just sick.
You feel like dads get a bad rep in today's society?
Uh,
Or do you think it's valid for them to have that bad rep? We know it exists, but do you think it's valid?
Again, it all depends on the person, really. If the dude is a straight scumbag and he's really literally not around, or just in your household, just eating up all the baby snacks and shit, then
Kind of father.
yeah, that's a deadbeat. Like, you know what I mean? You're not instilling no type of value or no type of structure within a child, creating no type of relationship. You're a deadbeat. You can be a deadbeat in the household. You can be a deadbeat without being in the household. It all depends on the person. But I've seen dudes that's fighting in the court systems right now just to see the child, or just to get some type of custody or some type of like visitation, and still being called a deadbeat. But this guy is going through being hit with child support, going through the court system, battling legal fees just to see the child that you're neglecting him from. and he's still called a deadbeat. Like I don't.
I mean, I see your point, but at the same time, I think it's really hard to kind of decipher or read in between the lines. Like, yeah, you could be doing all of that, but if you're a bad person, I just don't want you near my child. So, like, yeah, you could be in the court system, but if you're involved in some type of life that, you know, could be kind of dangerous for either you or the people around you, like, why am I going to want my child around you? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So you could be fighting through the court systems and things like that, but if you're not the right person, then I don't want you near my child, like, regardless.
I'm talking about for the good ones, though.
Yeah.
For the good guy that doesn't want to be with the mom, and they using that as a weapon to keep a good dad who actually wants to be there for the child, actually want to create a relationship, actually want to take him to the aquarium, the zoo, you know, have an actual picnic at the damn beach, but you can't because of why.
Preach, brother Skeeter, preach. Do what you came to do today.
But they do overall, they do receive a bad rep. I'll say the majority is valid, but for those who are getting that title thrown to them, but are actually good people, then it's not fair to them.
I don't think it's fair, but I just find it hard to believe that good dads would be having to go through these issues if they're good dads. I just don't. That's just
well,
what I find.
Like I said, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. It can look like they look like they doing what they supposed to do by telling people this, but you don't know what's going. You don't know why he's getting put on child support.
I know.
You don't know why.
I know a few personally.
I do too, to be honest. Just to be fair, I do too. I know the good ones. We all know a handful of bad ones. But the other question is,
do you know more bad ones than you know good? I do. I feel like most of the fathers I know could use some improvement, as opposed to the ones that
I feel like the ones that I've been around, I pay attention a lot to more of them than I would do of bad fathers, because I grew up witnessing that. So that's bad fathers is not something that I'm gonna easily look at. I'd rather look at the ones who are trying and to change my perspective on certain things, so I can get a better understanding as to what actually falls apart in these in families and stuff like this for a father to actually have to go through a system like that. Not saying that you women shouldn't take them through the system, because some of the motherfuckers need to be in there.
Yeah,
they need their checks garnished on a consistent basis.
Taking trips to Dubai and shit. You're like, yeah, I need that 3,200 back, please.
You spent 3,200 on something?
Who?
You?
Did I go to Dubai, dude? No.
But before we go on, my last question for that is,
I didn't even answer your question.
Oh, my fault.
Jeez. Just no. Excuse me. Yeah. So I think the bad rep is really valid. Just some stats that I found over here from the lifeofasinglemom.com, because we're doing research now. We try to inform the people at all the times. So it says, of the nearly 22 million children living with a single parent in the U.S., about 19 million children under 18 are living with a single mom.
Yes, I read that.
So that means only 3 million are living with a single dad. 19 to 3. I mean, there's bad dads out there. Like, there's bad dads out there. So yeah, we try to highlight the good guys and stuff like that, but it's so few. It's 3 million. It's 3 million in comparison to 19.
But that also lets you know that there are women out there, the single mothers that are out there in that range, are doing everything that they're supposed to do for their kids. They have to be there. They have to provide, in a sense where he's not doing it.
Yeah. Shout out to those. Happy Father's Day to the single moms out there.
So yeah, I mean, I think the bad rep is pretty valid, and again, we try to highlight some of the good guys, but at a certain point in time, like, you just got to step up and do what it is that's expected. I feel like a lot of parents or a lot of dads, new dads in general, just want like cookies and like these dad awards, and it's like, well,
they playing victims, to be honest. It's like
you should step up and do what it is that you're expected to do. I'm like, my God,
I don't think
softies.
Like, you shouldn't play victim to somebody who's giving birth to your child, or
this
play
society
victim.
bred a lot. Well, breed. I'm sorry, I was about to say breeding. Breeds a lot of softies. I am a lot of softies out here. Man up.
That's just there's no other way to put it, to be honest with you. I think manning up and then owning up to your responsibilities is a big thing for bad fathers and even good fathers going forward, because all relationships can fall off due to something. So if you're able to be consistent with your responsibilities, consistent with owning up to your mistakes and everything, I think it just needs to be improvement.
I guess my biggest thing was be a dad because you want to have that relationship with your
Exactly.
child. Stop looking for like the attention and the affection that comes with it. Just do what it is that you need to do because it's the right thing to do. Don't do it to try to get just attention for it. And I feel like that's a lot of it now. It's just like, oh, look at me, I'm at the park.
It's social
I'm a good
media
dad.
too, man.
Yeah, that's a different podcast topic.
No, but like I said, they're quick to be victims. They want somebody to just give them a pat on the back because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? If this setting, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you really don't deserve no attention like that. Just continue doing it. Continue doing it. The attention's always gonna be there
Yeah.
because your actions show forth that way. So.
So I feel like a big thing that's happening right now, just in our society, is there's a lot of co-parenting. It seems like that's the buzzword. It's just kind of having co-parenting. It's been going on for a while now. I think we've gone through it with some of our parents, and like now it's really like a big thing to have healthy co-parenting relationships. So just what do you see in like co-parenting? Like what is it like now? What do you see?
Common ground. Common ground, being equal across the board, being respectful of one another regarding everything, being respectful of somebody's time.
Are you saying like ideal things, or these are things that you're seeing?
These are things that I'm seeing for co-parenting.
Okay.
But what I'm seeing now, and in speaking from experience, co-parenting could be the biggest headache in the world.
Right.
I just think, like growing up, it was a difficult thing because you know both parents can be on different levels in life.
Yeah.
One can be in a sense that they're able to provide more. The other one can be in a sense where you know they just can't seem to get it together. But as what I see now, it's a lot of common grounds. At least from what I've seen, I can't speak on everybody. It's just the common grounds. It's just being respectful of one another, of each other's time, and making sure you're making things work as co-parents for the children. I think people are trying to avoid as much drama as they can possibly avoid, in a sense. So that's just what I see.
Well said. What are you seeing? Just in
Well,
co-parenting.
personally for me, because I'm in a co-parenting situation myself, so I'm speaking from experience. But definitely, it's working out perfectly well. If you personally was to ask me,
like in your own personal experience, it's working out well.
yeah, correct. So it's just focusing on communication because you do have to be aware of people's times. We're operating on two different schedules, but it's working out perfectly fine. She takes, I get my daughter ready for school early in the morning where she has to leave to go to work, and she gets her off the bus while I work in the evening time. So everything's a perfect balance. Everything outside of that, there is common ground. I do see that. I'm starting to see the family still being close-knit. Although they're not together, I still see that they're still doing activities together, taking family trips, family vacations, whatever the case is. They're just acknowledging the bigger picture, which is the child. Regardless of the relationship between the two parents, the bigger thing outside of them two is the child, because that's going to join them for life no matter what. You know what I mean? So I'm starting to see more rejoice, more unity, more common ground. Just improve on the communication because that's what it boils down to ultimately.
Just my initial thoughts on co-parenting. I don't think it's as hostile as it once was. It used to be like it was just beef. Like if we're not together, then it's beef. And I just seen like that relationship kind of turning over a new leaf, where it's like, all right, well, what can you do? What can I do? How is it best that we provide? And so I'm seeing a lot more just unity, as Keita said, but the relationship is less hostile. It's not so much animosity anymore if a situation isn't working out and people decide that, maybe it's best that we're not together anymore, and they're trying to make the most out of that. So I just see that relationship not being as hostile. I think that's important.
To go, I kind of see hot and cold. There's no in the middle.
Yeah.
I feel like when things are going well, things are going well. I feel like with today, when it's going bad, all hell breaks loose. This beef is just y'all looking like rival gang members in a whole relationship with children. You know what I'm saying? So there's no in between on nothing. I feel like things can go really well, but when it goes south, it goes south.
You talking about like the parents' relationship go south, or like
co-parenting and everything? The parents' relationships go south. Co-parenting is in jeopardy.
I feel like things go south when situations or circumstances arrive that people don't know what to do.
I see.
So like there's something that the child does. It's like, oh, Junior today punched the child. Like you need to step in and like handle that. And dad's like, well, he didn't do anything wrong. And I think that's where the fuss comes about. Yeah, dads are definitely trying to like go for fighting. But I think when situations arise and you don't really know what role it is, or you have a difference on opinion on what's supposed to be done, that's when it really goes south. So I see what you're saying, but I think it's circumstance that like makes it go south.
But I don't think people also know how to retrieve that type of information and be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's like if
misinterpretation happens a lot of times. Like I don't think it's just the fact of it being miscommunication. It's just how do you interpret? Like, can we be peaceful to agree to disagree? I feel like we can't. If we agree to disagree, I feel like there's no peace behind it. It's always going to be bitterness, and it's always going to have that slight tensed energy every time I'm around you now. Like, so that just doesn't work for either of us.
I don't know. It's like I said, it's crazy because, like I said, when one parent disagrees with another, there's always somebody trying to fight back with their own answer instead of taking the time to listen as to why they don't think it should be a big issue. Things that aren't big issues to you may be big issues to them, and then there's no common ground in that sense.
And
so
then morals start to being questioned, and how I was raised, but how I was raised, and all that.
But I feel like there's never a common ground in that type of situation, though.
Yeah,
I don't think there's ever been a resolution to it. I think people just take that and just go on. Okay, what can we do going forward, type of thing.
Yeah, those are conversations that need to be had more. So I think you're right on that. But another thing I wanted to ask is why do we feel that families kind of fall apart once children are introduced to the equation? Because in order to have a co-parenting relationship, there has to be a relationship that started, and then there has to be a child, and it seems to things that they break apart after that. Like, has anyone seen stuff like that happen?
I think just out of fear, people are just fearful of just having that responsibility of having a child. But it's just like if it's just there, you got to suck it up now. That there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you know what I mean? But ultimately, I just feel like it's a fearful thing. People just grow apart because they feel like they don't have to step up to the plate and just leave everything to the opposing partner, which is unfair in all aspects.
I think it's a lack of due diligence on people to recognize who their partner potentially could be. Too many times we're out here getting lit and just experiencing certain pleasures with different people. And it's all fun and games until like things happen, and then there's a sense of responsibility that's introduced. And then, like Cedar said, people get really fearful and scared because it's like, oh, like, well, what? I'm not sure about my own ability to be a parent, and I damn sure don't trust you because I know you, and I just don't feel like that's working out. So, I also just think like people aren't prepared to like give up what it is that it takes to have a child. So it's like, oh, I can't be in a club no more. Like, yeah, no, you shouldn't be.
Well, that's the sense of you needing to grow up now.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, it's not just about you and her. It's about you, her, and this little creation that you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like a lot of guys just aren't willing to kind of give up what it is that they've been doing. Women they need to. I can't be in a club in 9 months. Like I could pop at any second.
Well, the good women.
The good women.
There's a bad bunch out there that give birth yesterday and clubbing the next night after. So
I'm definitely sure there are some, but women kind of have to give up a lot. I mean, it's their body that's carrying it essentially, so they have to give up a lot. And then guys are like, well, I'm not carrying nothing. Why can't I go out? Like it's different, and guys aren't willing to give up that fun or whatever it is that they were doing to begin with. So I think that's where it all kind of breaks apart too. Is women are sacrificing. They feel like you're not making the same sacrifice, or like I'm doing so much more to have this child than you, and it's not fair to me. Unless they're going through certain hormone phases. So yeah. That's when it all falls apart.
Lack of compromise. Compromise is very important in any parenting situation. So just recognize and acknowledge that.
Do you feel like there were certain compromises that you had to give up or make when you were
absolutely
growing into dad?
Yeah, absolutely. And those compromises that I didn't mind making because I already knew what the bigger picture was. As soon as we made the decision, like, all right, we're going to follow through with having this child and follow through with giving her the best life that we can possibly do. I already had in the back of my mind that I'm not going to be going out as much as I was going out at that time. I know I was going to cut down on drinking, smoking, or whatever the case was, calling it early nights at certain times. I know I was going to be working doubles, weekends, just to provide for my child. So absolutely, but those are compromises that I didn't mind doing because I already knew what the bigger picture was. Most people don't have that in mind. They just think about it way too late, and then when things start to happen right in front of them, it's just like, this is just too much for me. Everything's just catching up.
You compromise with everything, though, regardless.
That's
so
just,
I think
that's just the person that I am.
Yeah, I think that's just your personality as well too.
Right.
So I think it's a lot easier for you to compromise and for you to give up a certain type of freedom that you may think that you had, all for your daughter.
Absolutely.
I think for somebody who isn't as compromising, it's difficult as hell because now it turns into a petty war. Now it turns into you all fighting about something that should have been easily discussed or taken care of a while back. I don't think families fall apart that fast though.
I don't think it's like boom, child. All right, we break up. But I think before there's some resentment there because it's like, I'm not really prepared, and you're just trying to survive to the baby shower. You're just trying to have a child. What do you look like unless you're Tristan Thompson? But like, what do you look like leaving before this is done? Like, just the stigma that would be attached to you is kind of unbearable. I mean, I don't know any man that would want to have to deal with that, but soon after the child is born, it's like, oh man, like crying, like this, I can't live this. And with you, like,
for first time fathers, it's crazy. So I know Cedric is a first time father. I got a few friends who are first time fathers.
Isn't everybody a first time father at one point in time?
Not necessarily.
You have to start as a first time father.
Well, it could be a different topic, but there's I mean, even when you speak to somebody with kids who are at a younger age, it kind of preps you for your own at certain times. It all depends on circumstance. You know, I don't
believe in that.
You don't?
I know. I mean, I had three people who are dads, and I just don't feel like anything they could tell me could prepare me. Like, you're not gonna be prepared until you are
until
a
you
parent.
get in that situation.
It's just like he could tell me, like, hey, you want to rock a little bit smoother? Like, that's like, yeah, it's nice to know. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna help. You gotta kind of learn this on your own and figure out. You have to go through it. Like, so I see what you're saying. I just don't believe it because
I've seen it.
If I was rich, I wouldn't know how to act. Until, like, rich people can't tell me what to do either.
Listen, man, I can't really fully speak on that because I don't have any kids.
Yeah.
But I just feel like sometimes two parents can force a relationship that can get worse, and then families fall apart that way.
Yeah.
I think they try to make it work as much as possible for the fact that there's, like I said, like Cedric said before, there's a stigma towards having two parents within a household. I think both parents who are good parents will try to make it happen, but the relationship just ain't working between y'all, and it can tear it apart a little bit. So that's just what I think on why families fall apart. I think forced relationships can be a big part of it, and it can mess up a lot of different things.
And just to counter that a little bit, if the relationship doesn't work out, it's okay. Like, it's okay. It's a lot of people don't see it like that, though. I don't. Wait, here. This is why I'm here, for the reassurance, for the affirmation. It's okay, baby. What's her name? Be Simone. Baby.
I hate her so much.
Oh my god,
baby.
My boyfriend.
So much.
Yeah, it's completely okay if it doesn't work out. Just casually, just move along.
Yeah.
But also come to an agreement like, hey, there's still a responsibility here, and just knowing that we're bonded for life because we both have a child or children here.
But a lot of people can't have that conversation, though.
Well, it needs to happen now. That's what's going to improve. If you want this co-parenting to be a success and you want it to be as smooth as possible with less headaches, I guarantee you will have that conversation and you will come to a conclusion. Because if you guys are stubborn to that point, then
some people just
some shit.
petty, man.
But you saying that brings up like this dynamic I wanted to talk about. It's just like co-parenting within having people outside of the relationship. So, like, you know, if you're not together but now you're dating other people, your partner,
slippery slope,
your baby mother's dating other people. How do you go about dealing with that now? Because it's not just you and her; it's you, her, and him. Like, how would that come about?
For one, I think Cedric is fighting. I think he will spark a fight. I don't think he wants anybody else around his daughter.
But like you can't. But like you made the choice to do co-parenting because you didn't want to be with somebody.
Absolutely.
So you can't then like not be like,
right? Yeah, of course.
Chill.
I guess my initial thought wouldn't be to fight the motherfucker, but
But
come
like
to
That
terms with
sounds
just,
like fighting, though.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. That's the initial thought. But like,
Okay.
if when I come to understanding and realizing like, hey, she is on her own, she's allowed to do whatever the hell she wants. I just hope and would expect that she picks somebody that's respectful of her and my child.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta see how it play out.
Yeah,
You can, I mean, you can hold somebody to that same level of respect around your child's mother and around your child. You just got to see going along how that's going to turn out, and if it's not turning out to your best interest, then
Yeah, and absolutely.
that's going
That's just like
to be an issue.
if that happens, and then I take my daughter to school the next day, and she say some things that I don't normally say, when her mom doesn't normally say. It's like, I'm gonna have to kill this dude now, and possibly go to jail for murder because
Possibly.
very possible. I wouldn't want that to happen. So in retrospect, you would just hope, again, hold somebody to that standard to hopefully be respectful of the household, be respectful of the family's boundaries, and just stay in your place.
It's hard. It's hard though. What are boundaries? What are your place? Like I'm taking on a stepfather role. Like I'm sure. Just to give an example.
Are you really though?
I'm just to give an example. To give an example here, I'm thinking of just like maybe Sierra, Russell Wilson, and Future. Like if you're Future, who are you to tell me like how to raise a child when you have 10 other BMs and stuff like that? Like I can respect what you say, but as a man, I don't really respect you. Do you think Russell Wilson is just like, oh yeah, let me listen to what Future says over here because you know he's like no,
Yeah, absolutely.
like
in
so,
that case.
So what are boundaries? Like what are boundaries and rules in place for Russell Wilson, who's been able to provide for this child, give her a home, marry this woman, just the steps that you weren't able to kind of make happen with your partner, and he's making happen. I just find it hard. Like, how do you go about communicating rules and stuff like that? And you like, know your place. Like, well, know who you are and be better.
I don't know. That's
you know what I'm saying. That's what we're having.
Yeah, that is tricky,
and that's what I want.
But I guess in that case, obviously Russell Wilson created like a genuine relationship with Sierra, and obviously it trickled down into the child because that's how Sierra was living anyway, just her and a child. So if she wanted, as a new member coming in, you would want to create a genuine relationship first. But being understanding, like, hey, she has a child with another guy, and if that guy stops by to see her, it's better if I introduce myself, like, hey, blah blah blah, this is what's going on. But I completely respect what you guys have going on this side. I'm respectful of you guys' space. I'm respectful of you guys' time. That's like the bound. Just being respectful of the space and time. I guess that's what it means to like stay in your place, stay in your lane type thing.
How can I put
Not to just be like turned a blind eye to it, like I'm dealing with a girl, fuck your child. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, I think anytime you take on anybody, any partner, you take on some of their, I don't want to say baggage, but you take on what they're dealing with, what they're going through, and if that's a responsibility that they have, then you need to be open to like dealing, but I just like you have to be able to handle that as well, like, right? Be a part of that. So it looked like you wanted to say something over there.
Let it loose.
Let me see how I can put this specific thing right quick. I think for Russell and Sierra, Sierra, that's her name. Sierra, not Ciara. We've been saying it wrong this whole time.
I said Sierra.
It's Sierra. I say Ciara.
Just say CC.
Okay.
I'm not saying CC. I call you CC.
You never did though.
I think it all depends on how he came into the situation.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is a respectful guy across the board, so I don't think there was no hard feelings regardless from Future's end of things. I just think that due to Future's and Sierra's situation of knowing that Future's not going to be around like that, and he is the person that's there caring for Sierra and her well-being along with her kid. I just think he makes it that respectful for Sierra to know that he's here for the both of them. So I think that situation's a good situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Future has to worry about any boundaries or respect or anything like that because it's automatically there. You know what I'm saying? I think the only disrespect would just be coming from Sierra. That's just about it. Okay. Which it is already. So
she bad.
So to boil it down, what is needed in order for co-parenting to work? Just one word, one sentence to explain it. What would you say?
Communication.
I stole my stuff. No, it's good. It's the same thing. So communication, just on like what level, just like how, just give an explanation as to
Just
how it's needed.
as it could be as simple as a phone call or just a meeting one day out of the week. Like, hey, here's my work schedule. I can take my child this day and that day, give you a break, or I'll babysit this day. You can go out this day, and vice versa.
Communication. What do you have? I'm trying to find something else now.
I'm trying to find something else too.
I'll go. Understanding. I think there needs to be understanding between parents. Like, hey, listen, we're not together. We may not be together moving forward, but at the end of the day, we need to have the best interest of our child at heart. And so if we have that understanding, then I think everything can kind of work around it. Like, we'll figure it out. But like, if we understand that, hey, it's not about us, it's about our child, then it can work out.
Absolutely.
That's where co-parenting works. So having understanding.
Having an understanding and you saying communication, right?
Yeah. You could just say what we said.
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not gonna do that. I just say respect. You can have communication, but you probably don't even respect her. You can have an understanding on something, but you probably don't still respect her. I think respect goes a long way because it can tie into communication and having that good understanding. I think if you respect one another's space at the same time, or respect one another's thought process in terms of how they want to go about dealing with you all as with each other as co-parents, that can actually go a long way. I just feel like when the respect is lost, it can compromise co-parenting. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's well said. So just in a sense to kind of tie things up, what are the steps, what are solutions that we have just so that fathers can be better, or just we can have more complete families moving forward?
Gotta try. You have to attempt. You have to go. You have to take the extra step to be a father. Not only as a father, as a man. Like you lose points to being a man when you don't take care of your responsibilities. And I think once you get a good handle on that and being more consistent with your responsibilities, it can fix all of that. So
don't take the pussy way out. Go
What's
to
the
the
pussy way
process.
out?
Just up and out of there, like.
He pull out and then pull out.
Yeah,
like,
just pull out and just up and by it. Uber outside, car keys ready to go in the pocket. Like, enjoy the process, man. It's definitely life changing. It'll open up your eyes to life you wouldn't dare to believe. There's gonna be ups and downs, of course. There's gonna be long nights, short days, vice versa. You're going to be working probably 2 to 3 jobs. You might be a stay-at-home dad for a couple of months. You might have to compromise something else for something else. Just enjoy the process. It's all worth it. So, yeah.
My advice is just having just more complete families is to really take heed in the person that you're dealing with. A lot of times we're so quick to do something or to be intimate, and you're not willing to have the responsibility afterwards.
Facts.
So you got to really recognize who you're talking to. What do they provide? Do you see yourself in the future? Because things can happen, whether you want them to or not. You have to really be in tune with like who that person is and be willing to, understand that if something were to happen, I was to have a child with this person. What are my morals? What are my values? Can I see myself with this person? You got to do like the pre-work before it's too late. So put the work in advance before, get to know somebody instead of just this hookup culture that we have. We might have to have a topic about that as well.
Yeah, hookup culture is so crazy.
Hookup culture is kind of, I guess we know right now.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, so hookup culture makes things a little bit more, I want to say accessible, or just it makes things fast. And so you really got to take the time to know who this person is, what they're about, what their family is, what their culture is. A lot of times people get involved in this relationship and their culture is completely different. It could be a Spanish culture or just a Hispanic culture that like doesn't coincide with some of your values. What do you do then? Is that something that you want to be a part of? You will be if there's a child involved. So you got to put the work in advance to know if this is the person I want to deal with. And if it happens, then yeah. So
you can't just pull into everything and pull out when you want to.
You gotta check the Carfax.
Exactly.
Gotta check the Carfax.
Yeah,
check the Carfax. But it can be a more complete family if you put in all the work in advance. So if you put work in advance, then you know what you're dealing with, just moving forward. So,
bingo.
Do you want to say something?
I kind of want to say.
I know we're missing someone.
I kind of want to say that even when the family falls apart,
Yep.
it's like it gets called a deadbeat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the same sense, let's say he goes and starts another family somewhere. He's the best father in the world to that kid.
Yeah.
Now, my question to y'all is, in a situation like that, for the reason not having a relationship with his first child and with the mother, is it what are your thoughts on it though? Is it a broken relationship type of situation wherein it was unable to work between him and her and him and her with his previous child? So he's starting his brand new life to fix his rights, to fix his wrongs, and everything of that nature.
So,
or is it like or is he just a flat out deadbeat that's just ignoring everything that he had prior to this family, this new family that he got?
So did the first family break apart because of his wrongdoings?
Well, I'm asking, like, what are your thoughts on a father making a whole new family and forgetting about the family he had prior to that?
If you're gonna forget about the first family, then you're a complete douche. But if
So having a new
But how-
family
yeah.
with a kid doesn't.
I see what you're saying, because how can you be a deadbeat if you're providing for
If
the
you're-
second family?
for-
So yeah, you're a
exactly.
deadbeat, but you have this whole second family here
Exactly.
in comparison to the first one. Yeah, that's a good question.
huh?
I mean, we talk about case by case. I think in that case, you're a deadbeat in that one situation, and then you made up for it in the second.
superhero in the second one, right?
Exactly. I mean, I can speak from like some experience. You know, my dad ended up getting married, and the woman that he married had 3 kids. Shout out to Jordan, Erica, and Danielle. They're my step family. But he never forgot about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just knew that he had to. I keep saying dealing. I just don't like that word. I knew he had to parent with them, and he had a responsibility to them because he was living in their household. And so he would pick up my sister when she was coming home late from work. And those were things that he needed to do. But I never felt that it was like, oh, well, he's taking care of them, he's not taking care of me. Like, I had never felt that. I think if you can go out your way and communicate, or if you can communicate your perspective where, hey, listen, it didn't work out because of this, then it could be more understanding. But if you blatantly disregard that responsibility to that first child that you had, then, yeah, you're a deadbeat.
So you're a part-time deadbeat.
Part-time, yeah. That's
Part-time.
per diem deadbeat.
Per diem deadbeat.
Per
On
diem
call.
deadbeat. Yeah. Okay.
That's crazy. Nah, I just wanted some opinions on
Yeah,
that.
That's a good question.
that is.
Okay, so we talked about what men need to do all the time. What do we feel like some steps that women can do to help with these families being more complete, more
Ooh,
successful?
I'm gonna
Touch
walking a
lightly.
tightrope here.
Tread
I don't
lightly.
want
on
to.
eggshells
Tread
there?
lightly.
I don't want to.
Since when did you walk on eggshells, Keith?
I don't want to get a neck smile.
Colombian
I just
necktie,
caught
baby.
that.
this week.
I just caught that.
See what I'm saying?
Colombian
Got that.
necktie. Feel me?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can say in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
please don't beat me up. I just feel like women should take the time to hear the person out.
Mm-hmm.
I think when somebody is admitting to their faults,
Mm-hmm.
I think if somebody is admitting to their mistakes, for someone who can't make up on lost time but want to fix things going forward, just take a second to hear them out. I know actions speak louder than words. It's the most preferred saying in everything. But I just think if you take the time to hear what
I was gonna say that one and treat everybody how you want to be treated. It's
Mhm.
probably like the most overused sayings on earth.
Saturated.
Most cliche things on earth. But I don't,
Those-
I
those
don't
are the
take
most
away the
cliche
distraction.
things, but it's just I think if you just take a second to hear the person out and then witness them making the attempt to fix the wrongs that they've had, I think it can actually fix a lot of broken relationships and a lot of things. Other than that, other than that, I don't think women need to do anything different. To be honest with you,
They've been doing a remarkable job.
they've been doing,
thus far.
and I'm speaking from
19 million single.
yes.
Superheroes.
I feel like it's a thing that is going to be automatically put on them when the father's not around. They're going to automatically step up to the plate because this is the child that's going to be by your side for the next 18, 19, 20 years.
That's just the nature, period.
Exactly.
They just got that natural bond. So no matter what, it's always their duty. It's always going to be the mom doing more than the dad just by default. But it's always a bonus for the father to step in and enhance those
And
type
that's
of responsibilities.
and that's why I struggled with the questions earlier, like how important is it? And I was like, it's helpful, it's impactful, but
I see what you're
important.
saying.
Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know. That's where I was going with that point. What do you feel like women would need to do just in order to help
Stop running
help
fucking men
families
away.
be more complete?
Yeah, just having a little more patience. Don't be so fast to X the men out. It's always good to have a solution to any problem with him. Whether the problems he has with you, vice versa, whatever the case is, always good to have some type of conversation first so you can have some type of clarity. And if that guy still don't want to be involved, no way, sense of the manner, then you can just rule him out. But if he actually is trying to make some strides, admitting to his faults, holding himself accountable, whatever the case is, and you're starting to see small improvements day by day, week by week, then just have a little patience with him and see how it rolls out. Just look for the consistency. If he ain't consistent, then get him out of here, Jack. Hit the road, Jack.
Don't you come back no
You know, we could get fined for y'all using songs. I'm just saying. All right.
Well, if I say it in
All
Spanish,
right.
what that is?
I don't think it counts. Don't think it counts. Just to kind of finish it off, women do the pre-work as well. Just kind of get to know your partner, who you're dealing with before you become intimate. My other thing is just women raise the bar. Just don't settle for less. If you feel like your dad can be better or your partner can be better, then hold him to that standard. Make him be better. Just stop settling for average or less than. If he can be a better person and do more, then just hold that standard so that he becomes that. And if not, then you'll know what you're dealing with and who not to deal with anymore. Hopefully find something else to move on. But I think if you hold this standard, grow, I don't want to say raise men, but if you hold them to a standard that they need to meet, then they can reach that expectation as a father.
Yeah.
And so raise the bar, have them be what it is that they need to be, and just stop letting them get away with less. So
Or you can find a sugar daddy and then use them for the bank account, and then you could be financially off then, so you don't have to worry about nobody else. So I think that's another alternative there.
Not sure if that's completing the families like we want to, but I know for the sake of time we're kind of getting low, so I do want to transition into just our moment of clarity. I know we didn't get to do one last week, so who would like to get us started with our moment of clarity?
I kind of want to take a little different route with the moment of clarity.
Yeah, because you keep big up in yourself.
No. It's not going to be about me. It's not
Okay.
going to be about Uncle Q. It's not going to be about none of that. I kind of want to reverse it a little bit. I know we just talked about what women can do.
Yeah.
Another thing that we can do is to stop chasing men away. Because some women are really nutcases. Some women are they do really make it difficult for a father of the kids to sometimes breathe on a day-to-day basis. I just think that some women just need to stop being crazy. Some women need to get out their feelings.
Okay.
Some women just need to put things in the past, go forward with it. Other than that, everybody else is good. Everybody else is good.
It's your moment of clarity, so I don't want to interfere. But if they're in their feelings, then there must have been some harm or some hurt done to feel.
Listen,
like feeling is real.
Look.
You're right.
We
You're
already
right.
know
My bad,
the harm
bro.
is there.
My bad, bro.
I'm speaking on the 1%.
My bad.
Okay, all
That's
right.
us, the good guy gang.
Yeah.
I got you. My bad. So you got any moment of clarity? You wanna go with right now?
I had one, but I just forgot it.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I can go until you remember.
Go ahead.
All right, so I just want to say that there's power in perspective. So if you can, just kind of give somebody a chance. Just listen to them, kind of learn from them. I mean, I think there's stuff that us as guys, we wouldn't know about women unless we were able to listen. And so
I don't think nobody knows exactly anything about women. Because
right.
we think we know some shit, and then it'd be
Right.
like, what the hell is that? I'm like, all right.
But the things that we think we know now is because we were able to kind of listen to women and hear them out. So I just want to tell you that just go out there this week, give a chance to hear somebody, learn from them, and there's power of perspective. So just be receptive to learning, and that's really what I got.
Allow yourselves to grow.
Yeah.
Simple and cut. So this is our 5th episode. We are the Ox Life. Make sure you follow our
episode.
YouTube page.
Ox Life.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Hit the notification button. That's a little bell next to it. That way you can be up to date with our stuff and what's going on, our content. We have side talks coming out again.
Yes.
Follow us on IG, Oxlife, OXLYFE podcast. I know there's been some situations where people have been typing in LI. It's not that. You can find us on every audio platform that there is.
Like purposely misspell it, and you can find us. Just
Apple.
put that Y in there.
Yeah.
We'll pop up. Follow us on our individual pages. Nell.
We're all tagged.
Nell underscore. What is Nell?
Nello? Is it
Nell
Nello?
is
No.
Nell underscore
No Doe _ number 9.
Yes.
Is it
Yeah.
2 L's or 1 L?
It's No Doe. Like, wait.
Listen.
Whatever. Anyway,
Yeah,
man, follow
you'll
us.
find us.
Follow us. We're tagged on a bunch of stuff, and you'll definitely find us.
Yes. I have a new name too. It's Uncle Keys on Instagram. It's Uncle QUXS. So just follow me on there. I don't need anybody's feedback on my new name, so
Okay.
thank you very much. So that's that. Any closing words?
I just want to say we do need feedback. Actually, we're
Need a
trying
whole
to figure
shit ton
out.
of feedback. So
This
stop fucking
podcast
playing.
is for the people. We need to know what it is that you
For the
want, whether it be
people.
sports, music, hookup culture, which probably will be our next episode now.
Hit us up, please.
Yes, hit us up. Give us the feedback. We need to know what you're thinking. I love the feedback we got so far. But
Thank
we
you,
need more.
guys.
We need more in order to grow, and that will be because of you. So contribute, and then you could be a part of our show.
Grow with us.
Not physically, because nobody
Right,
coming
not
up.
yet,
but-
not yet.
But yeah, so I think that's it.
Ox Life.
We out.
Remember, if you can't be good at it. Shout out to my man Jones for that one.
Bingo. Don